colleagues. It's been a wonderful journey with all of you in the past, and great to know each one of you with the right set of expertise, experience, and have enrolled with ISTD, a wonderful program which they offer, and enhanced your knowledge into the HR analytics per se. So you all now know me pretty well, and you can always stay connected with me. It's always nice to be in touch with the your old participants, trainees, and if you share a great success story, it would be really, really nice in the future. So you already know about Prism, with whom I represent. We are into trainings, we are into consultancy, academy, and yoga and wellness, and our philosophy has been very well appreciated. So one compliment from our side and an achievement, we just bagged with Female Entrepreneur Award for the 2021 by Delhi Management of Association. So that was a great achievement which we received yesterday. So with the great participants like you, it really worked for us. So thank you so very much. All right, so yes, the tips and hygiene for the today's session, which I always talk about, the chat box activity, and please put yourself into a mute mode. We have already done the case studies. Today we'll be doing some introspection and give you the statistic aspect. And if you have any key expectations from today's session, because today is the last session, you can please feel free to ask me. So towards the end, I'm going to keep some time so that you can ask, because this is something I've always kept for my students, just to know how they can further, enhance their knowledge. And yes, we can be connected in the social media. So it's already there on the screen. You can touch base with me in any of the social media platform. Cool. So you've already given the feedback, and still you can take that time and do give it to us. It's there in the chat box. Okay, so our today's session, which is focusing more on the HR scorecard, I'm not going to revisit what all things we have done because I purposely do it for the 6 sessions. Now you know that how the transition has taken place. So today emphasis would be very strongly onto the HR scorecard, and let's understand how do we measure the right things. Okay, so what exactly happens here is we always want to know that in HR per se, uh, will everyone see them, understand what they mean? That is what the meaningful requirement recruiting metrics that we've talked about in the past, right? And so on. Do they speak directly to the recruiters, or does everyone agree what is important to them? Can they easily access and compile consistently and accurately, and so on? So what we are doing is we end up try figuring it out, measuring the right things. That's really, really critical and important. So when we talk about HR scorecard, okay, now this is one of the key problem of HR which has been faced in the past, which is the perception of the HR doesn't add to a company strategy. So HR directors in many organizations, they're often still looking for a seat at the board table, and you will find that they really fail sometime. They really don't get that place. Okay, so HR scorecard as a concept, it was published by I know this gentleman, which is, I put it on the screen for all of you, but Ulrich, in their book in 2001, which was published. You can read this book. It is a very, very important book. I think all the HR professionals should read. So the HR scorecard is nothing but it's a strategic HR measurement system, and it helps to measure, manage, and improve the strategic role of the HR department per se. So the scorecard is meant to measure the leading HR indicators of business performance. Now, these leading indicators are the measurement which actually predicts the future business growth. So these are, that's why called HR deliverables, and they are also known as HR metrics or specifically HR KPIs, right? Now, when I talk about these HR scorecard, there are 5 steps to it. And for this, what you have to do is first you create a HR strategy map. Once the map is created, you identify the deliverables and then create a policy, process, and practice, which we call it as 3 Ps. Align the HR system with these 3 Ps and create HR efficiency. Okay, so these 5 steps are the crucial and the important one. So let's see how this map works. Okay, so if you will see as an example on the screen, I have given you of the recruiting strategy map. All right, so on the screen you will see the square. I have given it strategy. After the strategy, what I look at is the deliverables. Okay, here the deliverable is the employee growth, and then in this, what are we looking at? The financial and the processes. All right, so we always follow the bottom to top approach, and that's how we strategize it. Now, so this large European shipbuilding company is looking to become the most innovative organization in the sector. Now, in the external market, low-cost ship building projects are increasingly moving to Asia, while the European builders are the go-to for technological advanced ship like navy vessels and the super yacht. For this reason, a high innovation ranking is tremendously important to this company's future competitiveness. So this company HR decides, okay, let's put this practice in of strategy map. Okay, now to identify the HR can connect to this business outcome, one can create a strategy map for this, because I'm going to align my HR strategy with the business strategy. So the strategy map helps to identify how HR is driving these business outcomes. So the question here is, what HR practice drive the strategic goal of the company? So you'll find an example, here which I've mentioned. So let's do there, you can, as you can see, the company's strategic goal is to be on the top. So the next, HR has to identify its recruitment contribution to this goal. The contribution is to hire more qualified professionals, and the way to go through this is becoming a more attractive employer in the competitive technical shipbuilding labor market through a decrease in the time it takes to hire a new employee, which is the lead time. So this specific company was doing a quite badly on their lead time, okay, and was losing candidate because of it. So what they did was, if I'll see here, to measure this HR deliverables or the KPI which got created, as I mentioned, right? So the strategy we understood, they wanted to be the most innovative organization in the sector. The employee growth, hire more qualified professionals, decrease the recruitment cost of the financial goal, and in the process, they wanted to decrease the lead time and attract the more attractive employer. This was the strategy. Okay, so if you will see in an example, as I mentioned here, the lead time is measured as the time to hire in days, which is currently 38, but has to be decreased to 25 days, a 34% improvement. So you will see most of the organization, what they do is they will implement the quality initiative and they will put it into the, the Six Sigma projects or project management, right? So the same very way, I have put it into the deliverables element. So as I mentioned, the KPI is what KPIs we identified? The first, position in the sector-wide innovation market. Second was time to market for the last 5 new products in days. Third KPI was related to the employee growth, satisfaction score of manager after 1 year, that is the quality of hire. In the financial element, recruitment cost in dollars to be reduced, and in the process I want to time to hire in days, acceptance ratio percentage, and the top employer benchmark. So if you will see, we identified these 7 KPIs. These 7 KPIs are very categorically has been mentioned. So in the strategic, I'll just put it on. So in the strategic, if you will see, this is my KPI. For employee growth, this is my KPI. For financial, this is my KPI. And for process, this is my KPI. We have already talked about the recruitment metrics in the past session. You already know the metrics also. You already know the formulas. All right. Now, what as a professional we identify the score, that means how much will I vet on, that is a weightage. So what I do is I'll put it into the numbers. So the position in the current market worldwide is I'm sitting at the 5. My target is to become 3, top 3. The same very way, in the time to market for the last 5 new products in days, my current score is 121. My target is 95. The same very way, my satisfaction score, want to move from 0.70, that is from 70% to 85%, right? And the recruitment cost, I want to reduce it from $4 million to $3.5 million. Same very way, I used to take 38 days to hire. I want to reduce it by 7 days, which is 25 days. My acceptance ratio was 70%. I want to increase it to 90%. The same very way, the top employer benchmark, which I have, which is top 40%, I want to be a part of top 20%. I hope this is everyone understood the deliverables and the key indicators here.
I have a query here.
Yes, sir.
I may ask.
Yeah, please, right away, right away.
Ma'am, while I see that the time to hire has dropped down from 30 to 25,
Hmm.
in as complex scenario as the construction of the ship is concerned, at varied points you have more than 690 different professional levels in which you recruit,
Hmm.
starting from people who are tower crane operators to bill crane operators to even welders and others.
Hmm.
Now, the acceptance ratio that you have mentioned, 70 to 90%, are you mentioning across all trades?
Sir, right now, what I'm talking about only for this particular organization, and this is just a sample. It is not about related
Okay.
to a particular trade. It could be related to a particular role. It could be related to a particular division. It can be related to a particular vertical. I'm just giving you that it's your responsibility as an HR professional to identify on which particular acceptance ratio you're going to focus on.
And an acceptance ratio is like if you have given offer to 10 people, 70% had accepted your offer.
I want to increase it to 90% now. Because see,
Okay.
there's a cost involved. So 10 people, 3 people are not working on it. So it's a cost to me. It's gone. Hmm. Are we good?
Right, ma'am.
How do you correlate the 70 to 90% against the recruitment cost in dollar?
Okay. So if you would have attended my 4th session, we focused very strongly into it. Okay. We talked about the difference metrics, and I have given you my blog. So in that, I have given you how do we measure it. There is an element of quality, there's an element of cost, there's an element of speed, right? Now, as an HR professional, I want to figure it out that what is the benchmark I want to work on. Now, if I talk about this particular organization, they want to reach to the top 3. Now, they must have done the benchmarking study. In that benchmarking, they would have identified the people, the organization which is already at top 3, their acceptance ratio could be sitting at 95%. So they want to reach at 90%. So we really have to do a lot of back end work by data analytics. Are we good?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Super. So the moment we talked about the variables, when I say variables, that means I'm talking about the deliverables. We focus very strongly into the policies, process, and practice. Okay. And if you will see, there's the kind of questions when it is coming up, These three P's becomes very crucial. So the element of HR scorecard is connected with these three P's. Now, if we look at what we could do to ensure that HR is successful, where, when it comes to their key deliverables, idea is here that HR should create a number of high performance work system, which we call it as HPWS, high performance work system. Now, this high performance work system is a group of separate but interconnected HR practices which is designed to enhance effectiveness. So, if you'll see the example which I quoted, the key deliverables included decrease in lead time and a high ranking on the top employer benchmark. Now, these deliverables can be supported through one is policy. Now, when I say policy, how? A strong employer branding policy will help in building a strong reputation in that will help in becoming a top employer. If I talk about processes, key to decrease the lead time will be an optimization between how recruiter and a manager, communicate with each other. And manager takes a long time to review resumes and plans interview with the candidates can be a challenge. Okay, so that is how they have to figure it out. So this becomes a very important aspect of the process related orientation. Another example I can give you is application process for candidate. So the candidate experience will be a vital to attract the top candidate and ensuring a good rating in the top employer benchmarking. If you will apply in websites like Glassdoor, Michael Page, what they do is they will always ask, or let's say if I have worked in Honeywell or if I have worked in ICICI Bank, so what they do is based on my CV, they will send me a survey, and in that they will ask me how was my transition trajectory experience in these two banks, and I'll fill it up that survey. Based on that, other employees gets attracted, so you tend to become the a top employer of any organization. So a lot of companies have started doing a great place to work. So there was, I still remember, a lot of people who are working in this organization, they actually keep doing it, and they want to become the want to work in the finest. So this is again a part of the deliverables which come in. Then we have called practice. Now, it looks at the specific practice that the HR achieve this particular deliverable. Now, let me tell you, in ICICI Bank, the talent management practice, which we had almost 1.5 decade back, it was a buzz. The world, the industry was talking about our the talent management framework. And I still remember our CHRO Ram Kumar sir was very well appreciated, and till date he has been acknowledged as one of the finest professional into the HR fraternity and giving the best of the practices into the HR front, right? So I know that there are great organizations and they actually come up with the amazing practices. So you kind of create a benchmark. So creating a policies, processes, practices, it can create a synergy and is referred as a bundle of practice. So these practices actually acts to create a synergy with your HR deliverables that we have. So this is how it goes into the policies, processes, and practice. Now, when I talk about HR analysis, okay, let's talk from the statistics element. So we use various aspects. We use arithmetic mean, we use geometric mean, we use harmonic mean. Now, what is arithmetic mean? We all know. Oh, can anyone explain me what is arithmetic mean? Or anyone has heard of arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean? And can anyone help me to describe? And
arithmetic mean, ma'am, is just average. So getting means all outcome, all points should be added and then divided by the number of items.
Beautiful. Very good. Rightly said.
And the geometric mean is that all the outcomes should be multiplied, and then this root of the whatever the number is, that say if the 10 numbers are there, so 10th root will be the geometric.
Very good. And harmonic?
Harmonic means definition I do not remember, but I have studied it.
You have studied. Okay. So harmonic mean is when we want to use the average units for the speed rate ratios. Okay. So these are all they are not nominal value. They are all ratio related. If I have to ask you, so this is a GK question. Arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean. Which mean gives the accurate mean figure? Is it arithmetic mean, is it harmonic mean, or is it geometric mean?
Arithmetic mean.
Arithmetic mean.
Okay. So, galat jawab. Okay, the answer is harmonic mean. Okay. So let me give you the formula. So formula is very simple here. I'll put it, this is for everybody here. Okay. You all can pen it down, guys. I mean, or you want to click the screen, you can do that. Arithmetic mean is nothing but the average, which is nothing but the sum of the observation divided by the size of the observation, right? Median is the most center point or the middle value of the entire sorted list. The sorted list means either it could be from the it could be in the ascending order, it could be in the descending order. So that's why it's very, very important when we calculate the median, it has to be put into the sorting. The mode is the most popular value which has occurred. Okay. Geometric mean is an average factor. So arithmetic mean means average. Geometric means average factor, which focuses on the investment, growth, area, volume. So you will find the bankers, they will work on geometric mean. The organization who are into housing, they are into the area wise, so they use geometric mean. Organization, those who are having a production unit or those who have a what we call it, production line, so they use harmonic mean. So speed, cost, that's how they go. So the formula
depend upon variables which is there.
I'm sorry, sir.
Wouldn't it depend upon the variables?
There would be definitely variables. Variables we will consider again x-axis into y-axis for the correlation, which I'm going to talk in some time. But the accuracy of anything will be based. So if you're working on to the production unit, let's
Madam,
say,
can you repeat your question? The GK question you asked about this means.
Okay. So basically, the accuracy of average. The accuracy of average. Do a practical, which you will get an answer to. Just hold on for your thoughts. I'm going to give you one practical, but just right now, write down the formula. So the mean is a plus b plus c divided by 3. There are 3 units, right? 3 sides. If there are 3 sides, then it is for geometric mean, the formula is a into b into c under root 3. Okay. And if it's a harmonic mean, then it is 3 divided by 1 divided by a plus 1 divided by b plus 1 divided by c. Are we good with this? Can I move ahead?
Is there why which more accurate?
So your voice is breaking.
Ma'am, I was asking why harmonic mean. It is still not clear to me why harmonic mean is more accurate.
I will just give you an answer in a minute. The moment we'll solve a query. I'll give you one question. You yourself will get an answer. We'll do a practical, sir. Okay. Shall I move ahead? Okay. Suppose you have 2 numbers, 4 and 5. 4 and 9. Please calculate average mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. You already have the formulas. The two numbers are 4 and 9. The formula is here for all of you. Kindly take a time with yourself and come up with the answers. हाँ जी. Okay, so Arvind sir has given already the AM and GM. If you can come up with the answer for HM also, it will be good. Okay, so I got various answers: 6.56, 2.77. All right. Harmonic mean 5.5 by Urvashi. Okay. Praveen Vashisht is also giving 2. All right. All right. Let's understand here. Okay. I'll just share my screen. Okay, 1 second. I'm just sharing my screen. Okay. All right. So let's see this. Now, when I talk about 4 and 9, so the harmonic mean is 5.54. Okay. So some of you came to that particular closure. Geometric mean is 6 and arithmetic mean is 6.5. Now, when I asked you the question, so the nearest mean, what is the accuracy of the mean? Harmonic mean is the only mean which will give you the accuracy of the, the mean. So that's why you will find why production unit use this, because we cannot have variation. Let's say I'm in a production unit, or I'm producing nuts and bolt. Okay, so I'm producing nuts for the car. If I am if I take out the sample and I want to know that the size of the radius size of the radius is accurate or not for all the 100 bolts, so what I do is I take out the sample and I take out the harmonic mean. Arithmetic mean is giving me 6.5, so if you will see, the accuracy is 5.54. If I don't calculate harmonic mean, there can be a variation. So moment any worker will put the nut, the nut will be probably little bit loose or little bit tight. So that's why we work on the average of what is we call as harmonic mean. Are we good? I hope I've been able to answer your queries. Like one of the participant asked me, okay, why do we use and why the accuracy of harmonic means comes in.
Ma'am, can you explain it once again?
Okay, so what I was just saying is, so I mean, see, if there are 6 people, I mean, I was giving an example for the production unit, the way we have it here. Okay, so if we are working into a production unit, and let's say okay, I'll give you with a real example. How many of you remember Tata Nano car when it was launched? What was the problem Tata Nano had? What problem we got to know about the Tata Nano car? Who will tell me?
Electrical problems were there. It was getting fire.
In parametric, the mean is either known. When I say mean is known, so you know what exactly mean is. Okay, you have already calculated the mean. So the mean is known to you, and your data is what? Normal distribution. How does the normal distribution bell curve looks like? Absolutely normal distributed. The data is actually normally distributed. The bell curve is absolutely beautiful. There we use parametric test. Parametric test, if I work on one sample, if I just work on one sample, and when the sample is less than 30, I use t-test. When my sample is more than 30, I use z-test. This is the fundamentally everybody should be knowing it. You don't have to know more than that. You should be knowing when to use z-test. So what I mentioned, if I have one sample and my total sample size is more than 30, I will be using z-test. What is the formula and all that, please don't go into the detail. That is not your job. That job is related to the guy who is a data scientist. You just have to tell that person, my dear, we are just working on one particular sample. When I say a sample, that means a one particular set of parameter, which means, let's say for me currently the parameter here is the students who are attending my today's session. Today, how many of us are there? 26. Please tell me which test you will use, t-test or z-test?
Test. T-test.
Superb. That's it. Your data scientist will know what formula to apply. You don't have to work on the formulas. Let's say if I say that there are 2 samples, which means I have to work on 2 set of people. One who attended my session in the last year, and the people who attended my session this year. That means 2020 and 2021. How many samples are there? There are 2 samples. In this, if I see there were 50 people in my 2021 batch, and in the today's session there were 35 people in my batch, which test I will use? Please tell me.
Z-test.
Absolutely simple. Are we clear on this? I'll not go very much in detail into it because it's very evident. This is a Bible for you. This slide is Bible. You should be knowing it, what test to apply, because I have seen majority of the time people don't know which test to apply when. And when do I apply parametric test? When I know the mean and when my data is normally distributed. Simple. Are we good? Now, when I talk about non-metric test works on an assumptions that they do not require a population distribution to be denoted as a specific parameter. That means my data is not normally distributed. I don't know my population size. I don't know what my data is all about. Then I work on median. What was median? The centermost point of the data, which is properly scaled, either in ascending order and descending order. So I work on the median. In this, so parametric working on mean, non-parametric working on median, right? If I take out one sample, I can either use chi-square, I can use Kolmogorov, I can do run test, I can use binomial test. It is up to you. If there are two samples, you can use again chi-square of independent samples. You can use a median square. You can again use Mann-Whitney test. Your data scientist people would know it very, very well. Only thing you should know is I'm working on parametric test or I'm working on non-parametric test. In this, are you taking out one sample or are you taking out two sample? If you're taking out one sample, you should know if it is parametric, more than 30 Z test, less than 30 T test. In non-parametric, one sample, I'm very good in using chi-square, keep using chi-square. I want to work on two independent sample, again, you can identify on a chi-square. Please keep working on it. That's the beauty of non-parametric. Okay, so just to give you an example here, an Indian multinational has a linear growth model. It wants to identify a relationship between percentage revenue growth and percentage headcount growth. They had a revenue and headcount details for the past 10 years. The simple approach, correlation coefficient. I've already talked about the scatter diagram. You will put the headcount. So please tell me, headcount is dependent variable or independent variable? Okay, first tell me.
Independent variable.
Super. Growth is your dependent variable. So you will use XX, you'll use correlation, you will get the data points, take out the data from your data bank, put it into the tool, any tool that you're using. If you're using Python, you're using R, you're using Minitab, or you're using Splunk, or you're using SPSS, put the data, tell your data scientist, मुझे इसका correlation regression निकाल के दीजिए, वो correlation निकाल देगा आपको, ठीक है? Second problem, an HR manager identified 20 variables such as education qualification, college, age, gender, nationality that predicts the hiring effectiveness. He wants to identify mutually exclusive variable which affects the hiring effectiveness. Now for this, we use factor analysis. Now factor analysis, as I've already mentioned, certain part of statistics, you have to read books. I've already referred you the book of Fundamental of Research. And again, because here are 20 variables, there's so many factors, it is only the factor analysis will give you the answer and you will get to know how to find the effectiveness. You will just ask the person to, data scientist, to please put the data, and then the person will do the factor analysis and you will get to know which factor is contributing the hiring effectiveness, right? So remember I talked about the HR, the 3 Ps, the policies, procedures, right? And the processes focused on the key deliverables areas. So KRAs get emphasized. These KRA, suppose these KRAs were focusing in the process on the 3 factors, then you will work on the factor analysis. So that is how the exclusivity will come. Okay, campus hiring team is interested in how variables such as entrance test scores conducted by a company, the GPA and the prestige of the institution affects the selection. Now, if you will see, it is a very simple component of regression, which means I want to focus on the GPA score and the prestige of institution, which will affect the selection. So I know we talked about the cause and effect in the 4th session. So various causes that leads to the effect. So effect is already there. So the selection process, the selection is the effect. What are the causes? I'm working on. I'm sorry.
Smarty.
I'm sorry, sir.
Smarty.
Sir, put yourself in a mute mode, please. Thank you so much. So the effect is based on the 2 causes, and I want to know which the cause, how it is actually working out into the selection parameter. You will use a regression. The fourth, a company conducted an employee engagement survey using a questionnaire developed by the internal HR team. The questionnaire had 15 questions and responses were collected from the 50 employees. As a HR manager, we want to identify mutually exclusive factors. The moment word factors will come in, you will use the factor analysis. Again, any tool that you're using, they will be giving you the answer on factor analysis. Yes, query question.
So are these tools, most of these tools available in Excel, or I know for sure scatter diagram is there. But
Scatter you can do, my dear. You can do correlation, you can do regression. Factor
okay.
you can't do. Factor
Factor we know. Okay.
factor
So
analysis.
any easy to use tool for factor analysis, madam?
SPSS,
But that,
statistical package.
but that's a paid one, right? There's no
For first couple of for 2 months you get free version.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Query question now. I'm done with my session today. So I wanted to keep half an hour for all of you to any query, any question you have, so that you can do well in your exam. Oh, koi baat nahi, Praveen. It's okay. I understand. Your son came in. I could sense that. So it's okay, Praveen. Yes. All to you now.
Ma'am, I think we'll have to read a lot about this before, conceptual level understanding of it would require a lot of reading. So I think only then we'll get the relevant.
Very true. Urvashi, it is, I will not say it's tough, but it's not easy either. Basically, the fundamentals have to be clear. So I have tried to give you the best of the fundamentals in this PPT, and then, so that at least the basic understanding can be there with each one of you. What I have observed in my past experiences, people doing very basic mistake, and that's where the analysis don't come up in a real right manner. So I have seen people, the best of the professional, don't know when to use Z test or when to use T test. They just have 10, they're working with 10 samples, still they're working on Z test. Why? It's not required, because Z test work with standard deviation. And standard deviation means how much you are deviating from the mean. So this is so very important that we just go back to the basics, so many beautiful things can be done just by simple scatter diagram. Your scatter diagram will tell you the real analysis about the variables, the dependent and independent variable. And then you can do the hypothesis testing based on that. And then you can predict what's going to happen. So what do you think what these organizations do? They actually get to know. Now, currently, if you will see in the pandemic time, people have started working on figuring it out, what is going to affect the the lifestyle of the people, the shopping element, the key the demand of the people. They've started working on it, and they've started prescriptive analysis have started working on it. I mean, I'll give you one wonderful example into the fashion. There is nothing called ramp show now. There is no ramp show, which we used to go in our time 2-3 years back. We used to get to know, okay, JJ Walai is having his his fashion show, or Ashish Soni is having a fashion show. We used to buy the tickets and used to go. Now, no model, no nothing, simple. The robots are wearing the clothes and they're doing a ramp show on the screen. We used to go and attend the seminars, right? We used to go to the bookstore. We used to go to the various different jewelry exhibition. Now the exhibitions are happening on the screen. I remember the People Matters, one of the very finest magazine, they used to organize the HR conclave, and we used to go and attend. Today they are doing it online. So you have everything, you enter, so you're sitting here on the screen and you will click it, you enter the lobby, and the screen will pop up. Where do you want to go? Are you going for networking, or you want to have tea or coffee, you want to take a break, or you want to go and attend this particular session? So you go and click there. So how many people are attending, what is the subject like? Everything is happening the same way in a virtual manner on your screen. We don't need the live presence. So the projection has already started. So they predicted about it, they have prescribed about it, and that's how they started working on it. So that's your role, where you will start working onto the HR framework and figuring it out how you want to work on the new analysis based on the past data, and then predict this is what is expected in your organization with your set of people, and what do you prescribe to your business growth. Very simple. So that's how it's working.
So, ma'am, thank you.
Welcome, Urvashi. Pleasure.
I had a question.
Yes, sir. Please, Arvind. Sorry, was it Arvind?
I'm Kinshuk, ma'am. Kinshuk.
Oh, Kinshuk. Yes, Kinshuk, please.
Yeah. Ma'am, can we circle back to the chart that you showed?
Oh, yeah, sure. 1 minute, my dear.
Yeah.
So, Arvind, I'll come back to your chat later. I'm just sharing my screen. हाँ जी, कनिष्क कौन सी स्क्रीन पे आना है मुझे?
मैम वो पूरा जो आपने
फॉर्मूलाज?
नो मैम non-parametric tests. Yeah, this one exactly. I wanted to understand, आपने parametric test का तो example दिया, that was great. What about the non-parametric test? I could not just get that.
Median, अच्छा, okay, wonderful, very good, I must appreciate it. Okay, so a practical, I'll just ensure the example that I'll be using, I don't want to be recorded. Okay. And if you're working on mean, parametric. If you're working on median, non-parametric. Simple way to remember throughout in your life. Okay, so Arvind, let me hear from your chat box. Let me read it. So you have been recently appointed as head HR for a large organization. They have been hiring engineers trainees for the last 5 years through All India test and interview process, which takes around 6 months with high dissatisfaction on quality of candidates. What metrics will you use to identify areas of improvement to make this process efficient? अब आप इसका आंसर तो आप ही बताओ, my dear. सबसे पहले, who can explain me this? Why do you think the people would be, this organization is having a problem? Imagine they're using a 6-month process and still the quality of candidate is not coming. And then they're using 2 steps. One is test and then the second is interview process. Please guys, tell me what could be the problem? How can we nail the problem? What analysis we need to work on? Anyone?
First of all, there has to be a process intervention along with the way the analysis has been done with regards to the recruitment which is there. Secondly, there are comparisons of 2 groups in 2 different times. So there are 2 groups, but comparatively the variables are of 2 states. So when you're doing 2 different group tests, then it will be a 2 group t-test, or it could be also a 2 group z-test that can be conducted over a period of time if it is varied professions which is there. Now, why this is being conducted is because there is no job efficiency which is there. So the parameter that is singular parameter is job productivity, and job productivity resultant output. So based upon that, you can find out which are the 2 independent variables which are causing this effect.
Very good. Okay, so one of the very finest example you've got. So here, someone else would like to further nail it, simplify it.
Ma'am, so while the case explains that they have a test and interview process, there could be certain elements which are behavioral in nature. So as of now, they're targeting people who are top engineers or something, I assume. But what about the behavioral fit? Probably that could be one of the
Could be, very true. There could be a very high probable chances on it. So I don't know right now. It's just that I'm still trying to understand and explore here. Okay, what else? Anyone else?
Ma'am, in such cases, would data points be given in terms of the deviation or the correlation with regards to one group versus the other in terms of productivity?
Fantastic. Now you guys are talking. You have to work on
Because
correlation.
then scattered diagram and others would come into place to know if the
Yes,
SPSS can be applied to see resultant productivity between the two curves of production and the group in SACE.
absolutely. So work on the correlation. So Arvind, the answer for you is take out the two variables. It could be one is independent variable, one is dependent variable. If you want to work on regression, you can work on the regression by working on the two parameters and then figuring it out and then get to know why there is a dissatisfaction on the quality of candidates. So there
Ma'am,
is a lot of, I'm sorry.
sorry, ma'am. You may finish, then I'll ask.
Okay, so basically there are a lot of opportunity to work on this, right? The first, there could be, I would like to see the test that you are taking and the interview process. Okay, what is the duration of interview process? What kind of test that you are taking? Are you taking the cognitive test? Are you taking the skill based test? Or are you taking the effective, that is a behavioral kind of test? Now, in this, what are the competencies of your organization? Which means for an engineers, what are the key competency you're looking at? Is it properly aligned with the organization KRAs of engineers or not? So I will first look into it and then I will get to know the data point to it, kind of people who are you are taking. So is the lag is from the questionnaire side or is the lag is from the interview side? If let's say the lag is from, if I get to know the lag is from the questionnaire side, I'm going to change the questionnaire. I will change the question bank. I will probably change I will make it two different set of questions. You know, one could be level 1 and then there could be level 2. Then in the interview process right now, let's say there are one only interview, I will make it a 3-level interview, you know. So this is the permutation combination. I will do a pilot study and then I will do the analysis and then accordingly I'll work on it and I'll figure it out where exactly what mistake we are doing. Because here again, how will you say dissatisfaction on the quality of candidate? How do you decide that you are dissatisfied with the quality of candidate? Every individual is good. I don't know, are we picking the right candidate based on our KRAs or not? Even we don't know that. Or maybe the bosses are just ticking and they just says, okay, isko bhi le lo, isko bhi le lo. You know, they don't want to save the time. How do you know that? So you have to figure that out. This is what the analysis has to be done here on it. Yeah, you were saying something, my dear.
Yes, ma'am, in this case, the issue is the dissatisfaction with the quality of candidate, which means that the candidate is unable to produce the kind of work that the organization wants.
Mm-hmm.
The analysis start from that point, that the for each kind of a job, there would be a desired output that the organization would have laid down. Now you are measuring the candidate selected against that desired output. So that tells you that the candidate is falling short of the expectations of the organization. Now you start going backwards when you are working out whether is your recruitment process wrong, or the basic input to the recruitment process, the quality of the college from where the guy is coming and all that is bad. Won't that be a process in which you will go about doing the things?
That is one of the processes. That is one of them. I probably will look into the other side of the coin also. Could be possible the managers are not able to get the job extracted from them, or they are not probably giving the right set of expectation to them. How do you know? We have to figure that out also, no? Probably my quality of candidate is good. Are the managers doing in the right task the right way to their new joinees? How do you know? Figure that out also. So you have to understand and unturn the coins, you know. Just don't stick to one particular thing. You might be wrong or you might be right. So analysts actually do a lot of permutation and combination and then accordingly will prescribe. Okay, I think our recruitment process is not good. Our interview questions are not good. Let's change this. Or let's say the people we have hired, their orientation is not good. The managers are not putting the things in the right place.
My basic doubt is to that only. When you're doing analytics, then analytics cannot be hit and try.
You have to do
the HR process without analytics can be hit and trial. This could be wrong, that could be wrong. Let me try this, it doesn't work. Let me try that, it doesn't work. That's a different issue. But when you are analyzing a problem, you ought to hit the nail on the head.
You have to, my dear, definitely you have to hit the nail. So that's why analysis takes time. You will not get the result immediately. You know, the moment you will be using the right tool, the right process, the right formulas, you will get an answer. You will get to know where is the loophole, and that data will give you. A lot of time, what I have observed, the data is not correct and it's not accurate in our place. So maybe figure it out, which institute the person is from, what is the age, when did the person join, since how long the person has been working with us, when was the induction has taken place, who is the current manager, what is the experience of that manager, what is the level of engagement the person has with the the newcomers or the person with an experience. The moment you have all these data points, do the factor analysis. You will get to, from the factors, you will get to know what is leading to dissatisfaction. Your problem solved. You're not doing so many things. Just with the factor analysis, you will get to know. Are we good?
Okay, ma'am.
Good. Okay. Urvashi is asking, Arvind, where did you find all the cases? Arvind, please answer her.
Ma'am, we have two more cases. These are actually from previous year questions of ISTD.
I know that. I only drafted these questions. I was wondering, how did you get this? Okay. So as a training manager of your company, one of your job role is to submit a report on the impact of training and learning activities on the productivity of the organization. How will you carry out this role? Describe, giving details of the factors and parameters. My dear, now you guys should be answering this. Please tell me. Describe, giving details of the factors. कौन से factors consider करेंगे अगर आपका training and learning activities has to be impacted with the productivity of the organization? Guys, you have to tell me.
Ma'am, I think we have to talk from how was the transfer of learning. So basically, you talked about like KRAs and KPIs of each individual employee within an organization. Any training is imparted only to fill the gaps that the employees will have. So it means that the employees will be falling short of their KPIs or KRAs that has been allocated to them. So we actually do an analysis of pre-training and post-training KPI and KRA, of all the employees, and that will form a basis of how we actually, present the report in front of anyone of the impact of training on employees.
Okay, so tell me one thing. Very well said. I mean, I must appreciate that. I would say, okay, how many of you remember Kirkpatrick model?
I remember, ma'am.
Very nice.
Yes, ma'am. I also remember.
Very good. So the moment, if you will see in this question, it says impact of training and learning activities, right? How can we measure the impact? We can measure the impact through reaction. We can measure the impact through learning. We can know through the behavioral change, and we can through the ROI, that is the return on investment, correct? These four are the different parameters. Highlight on these parameters. This can be your factors, and then work on that. If you're doing a functional training, figure it out. If you're doing a behavioral set of training, figure that out. Let these four factors be there for your simple impact of training. Don't go haywire here and there. Very simple. Okay, so you have.
This will be an answer of the.
Yes, my dear, this is an answer. So either you use Kirkpatrick model or you use Philip 5 model. There is a Garnon's model also. So there are 7-8 training evaluation. I'm sure you must have studied in your evaluation paper, training evaluation paper.
My issue is, the question is, this would be an answer if I am writing an answer for the training evaluation paper.
No, my dear, we have got an impact. How will you calculate an impact, my dear? The impact can be learned from your reactions. You can see the impact from the learning. That is the change in the knowledge, change in the skills, change in the behavior. You can check the change in the behavior through the competencies. You can see the result, the ROI, which is amount invested, and the amount, the benefit the person has given after attending the training program. That's an impact analysis that you would have done, I'm sure, on the evaluation of.
So, ma'am, it will be a qualitative answer, or can we quantify whatever you are saying?
You should quantify, my dear. You should quantify, Benita. Suppose kariye, and here only, let's do it here only. Suppose I want to talk here right now. How much do you think is costing this particular session of ours, a 1.5 hour session on HR analytics, which has happened on 25th of April? Can you tell me what is the cost of it?
About,
Can you take out a cost?
About 40,000, 45,000.
How did you do that, my dear? How did you find out the 45,000? Can you please tell me the parameter of it?
Yeah, it is like, how much we paid for the whole course,
Okay.
how many classes were there, for per student. So if we divide the classes per student, we actually will come to conclusion that each student is paying how much money per class.
Okay, now let's do the reverse calculation.
Then multiplied by number of students attending, we'll give the figure.
Number of students attending, how much cost you're giving it to the trainer, organizing this, the Zoom cost, people attending, their time cost, people not attending, the opportunity loss cost. Okay? Then how much benefit, the score that you will get, how many people who will fail and how many people who will pass after doing this session. These all cost gets included. That is how we will do the impact analysis. So in an impact analysis, when I said ROI, you will do. So when Benita asked me, ma'am, can we quantify? Quantify with these things. That will show that you have got the subject mastery. I'm not here to know about Kirkpatrick model. You can write in your evaluation paper. How Kirkpatrick model have to have applied in the impact, you have to come up and tell me that. I'm not interested in reaction. But if my reaction paper, if in my, in my reaction sheet, if people are giving me most of the smiley, that is 5 on 5, but they're not giving me the performance in my organization, how does it correlate it? You have to tell me the correlation of the impact analysis of that. What people say in the feedback and what people are contributing into the performance. It has to be correlated. You will do correlation metrics. That is what impact analysis is all about. That is where you will highlight. That is what your factor is. Okay.
Ma'am, when I actually look at the third question.
You have been engaged as a consultant by a client to carry out a study on the benefits of training program the organization has conducted during the last financial year. How will you go about doing this assignment and what parameters will you focus on? Now guys, please tell me. मैंने तो बहुत आपको इसके input दिए थे. अब आप बताइए इसमें. ये तो आपको ऐसे ही मिल गया. Cake walk होगा. Yes, tell me.
Again, it looks very similar to the last question, ma'am.
Yes, it looks similar, and you have to make a proper report.
But it is only the external person is actually doing the analysis. So he'll, the process will be taught. How he'll actually collect the data, how he'll engage in calculating, and then again represent the data to the organization. So it is just the perspective will change, or otherwise the whole process will remain same.
Yeah, true, very true, sir. So now here you're wearing a consultant hat. Okay. All right, great. Thank you so very much. It was really nice knowing each one of you, and I would appreciate, please come on the screen. I would love to see all of you. I would like to click the picture. Why don't you come and show your, put the video on, please. Okay, good to see Anupam. Great, Praveen. Nice. Yes, Vijendra. Very good. All of you should know. Thank you, Dr. Pushpa. Great, Vinita. Amazing. Yeah, Ritu. Lovely. Yes, Rakesh, sir. So I'm going to click all of you with a wonderful smile. So I don't see Shweta, Bhumi, please, Durga, Abhishek. Can I have all of you? Oh, lovely. Such a beautiful faces. Why do you keep your video off? Huh? Lovely. So have a wonderful smile, please. I'm clicking. Great. Thank you so much. It was really
actually, it is the bandwidth which may create problem if all videos are on.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, but I agree. But thank you so much, Rakesh, sir. You all have been very nice, supportive. I hope the session was interesting, and it was really nice to be part of ISTD. I must compliment and I must thank you, Arun, Alok, Kushal sir, for making it so wonderful. I love the screen of Rakesh giving a thumbs up on behalf of all of us. So thank you so much, and do well in your life and stay connected with me. Right?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.